Hey everybody, I'm Lily.
I'm Sam.
And welcome to our live today. We're going to be talking about the 3 steps to release your Brogramming.
Yes, step 1 of releasing this Brogramming is going to be the curiosity and the awareness piece. So maybe you understand that you feel this constant need. So this is just an example. So maybe you feel an example of, this constant need to be busy all the time. And it's gotten you where you wanted to be. So let's say you've created some sort of success for yourself. And you believe in order to sustain this success and to continue to build off of this success, you need to continue to identify as busy. And this is what the world around you is telling you. This is what every podcast, media, book you're reading is telling you, that you have to hustle and push. And so you do, and now it is a part of your programming and can kind of be a personality trait and an identity. So maybe you see that and you're like, all right, well, that's just what it is. But maybe you also see the drawback side of this. So a part of you knows that this identity of sticking to this busyness is actually draining your natural energy. Maybe you're running off of coffee and energy drinks and a bunch of stimulants to band-aid this natural energy that you kind of have lost. So being too busy to exercise, maybe you're no longer exercising, or maybe you're skipping meals throughout the day, or maybe you're not eating enough nutrient-dense foods, or you're not asking for help, you're not maintaining boundaries, you're saying yes when you could be saying no. All of these little unconscious things begin to pile up and compound, and to the point where you cannot take it anymore and you are feeling depleted and burnt out. And a part of you may be here right now questioning if success is worth it, if being busy is worth it. And that curiosity has brought you here. And now you can begin to tap in and to educate yourself. And, we're here to share that there is this different way. And that is going to be able to allow you to work with your female physiology and bypass all of this high stress, this busyness, this burnt out lifestyle that you may think is the only way to reach your goals and success. So step 1 is creating the space for curiosity and awareness, which, could have brought you here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So step 2, after you have tapped into this curiosity, this awareness, seeing that there are more possibilities, right? Step 2 is really about the acknowledgement that this is now a blank canvas. It has created the space for rest, which has created the space for clarity, for creativity, right? How many of you have felt like, I don't know if you're a writer, or so for me, I've been I write poetry or songwriting or stories, and I've done that since I was a kid. Whenever I would get into a block, a writer's block, and you try so hard to move through it, and the harder you push, like nothing happens. Mm-hmm. But the minute that you take a break, go, step outside of that, try something different, do something new, get out of your comfort zone, suddenly, or you take a shower and relax and breathe and get out of your head. And then suddenly all of the ideas come in. It floods in, it rushes in. Muse happens, right? So with step 2, the most important piece here is that in creating that space, you can really start to identify, do I even identify with this behavior anymore, or these behaviors, right? Because here's the thing. Behaviors do not define us. How many of you have ever taken that Myers-Briggs test that'll tell you oh, you're an ENFJ or INFP or whatever it is, right? Yeah, I've taken it. That's all based on behaviors. But you can change your behaviors at any time. Some of them are harder than others to change, but you can do it. You actually do change your behaviors very often. Like, take that quiz when you're 5 years old, take it when you're 20, take it when you're 70. Like, the differences.
20, take it when you're 21, take it 6 months later.
6 months later, yeah, take it before and after college. Like,
Yeah.
take it before and after any kind of big transition or change in your life, and you'll see, wow, I just made a bunch of behavioral changes and kind of a different person now. But you're not a different person. The thing is that we've placed too much emphasis on the idea that behaviors are what make us who we are. But our behaviors are not what make us who we are, right? We can change our behaviors at any time. Who we are is defined inside of us, and that's it. And we can choose whether a behavior is aligned for who we actually are or not. That's up to us to decide. So, is this really me, right? The question is this really me? Or is it just a behavior that I have attached to, that I have identified with for a long time? And we each have, as we said earlier, we each have both feminine and masculine inside of us. But how each of those is expressed is up to us as individuals. And so the question becomes, is this how I want to be? Is this who I want to be? Is this part of the legacy that I want to leave here on this earth, in this life? So, Sam, you want to give an example here?
Yeah, so if we go back to, step one, and we go back to our first example of this super busy identity that we've kept, and we thought that that's what we needed, and now we're learning, okay, there might be these other ways, and we're no longer wanting to identify with maybe the word busy. It can feel like you are losing a piece of your identity during this time frame. I have gone through this. It feels like
death.
Yes, it's challenging. There's like a mourning that comes with it, and it's painful to change these patterns. And even though you are doing it for your benefit, it is difficult. So we have proven that slowing down and resting and taking care of yourself and being authentic with your emotions and your needs is the key to accomplishing more without all of the stress, while feeling more fulfilled and magnifying in more opportunities. But it's taking that step and trusting that that you can let go and shed this skin, shed this layer of this identity that is no longer serving you. Maybe it served you to this far in the past, but now you want to make this change and you want to create this canvas and start painting a new story for yourself. You can shed that layer, and it takes courage. It takes trust. It takes vulnerability. It takes openness. And
oh yeah,
did you want to talk about
we're gonna talk about that. I just want to add that being in chronic stress mode, we talked about this a little bit before, but chronic stress mode, aka reptilian brain, aka fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, lowers our abilities to make our best long-term, sustainable, aligned decisions. Most of the time. Some people are freaking maniac, superb beings under stress. They're like, I actually make my best decisions under stress. Great. Good for you. Majority of people don't. You
That's
are the
awesome.
Unicorn.
This isn't for you,
High
Karen.
five. You go, Karen. We love you. We support you. Most people aren't that way. But especially, there's this piece as well that just because you're doing busy work doesn't mean that you're doing the most important work, right? We talked about this earlier. And just because you are doing busy work doesn't mean that you are doing your best work either. And in fact, usually it means you're not doing your best work. So as women, there are unique ways that we can work smarter rather than harder. And those unique ways include the acknowledgement of our physiology and our biology. So step 3 is about reprogramming, right? So we've recognized, we've had the curiosity and awareness to be like, is this even true? We've created this space to release our older patterns to really identify, yeah, this is me. No, that's actually not what I want to do or how I want to be, right? And so the third step is a reprogramming of, well, how do I want to be? How do I want to move forward with this? And so you have this blank canvas, and step 3 is about painting it. It's about painting the blank canvas, choosing how you move forward. So what this takes, as Sam was saying, is courage, because it is a pattern interruption. It is getting out of the comfort zone. It is disturbing the chemical pleasure loops that have been running your life for the last 20, 50 years. And saying, you know what? I'm actually going to do some different things now. And like Sam was saying, your body and your subconscious mind are going to be screaming like, don't take this away from me, even if it's
how you
hurting
know
you.
it's working. When your body is screaming at you to do, no, let's go back to the comfort zone. That's when you know you're in the state of change and growth.
Yes, absolutely. There's this great meme, it's one of my favorites, and I have shown it to so many clients when they get to the point where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm at this breaking point, I want to quit, everything is getting really, really hard, and every single time I'm like, this is the moment everything changes. Keep going. And every single time, I'm right. It's right. It happens. Whether, they like did a launch and they're just like, okay, crickets, or people haven't signed up yet, so maybe I should just stop and quit. And I'm like, so if you stop and quit, that is when you solidify that no one signs up. But if you learn what's not working, you find out the answers, you keep going, keep moving through the blocks, that is when the changes happen. And then they 5x their income. They get the enrollments, right? They get their new clients. So that moment, just as Sam was saying, oh, I didn't even explain the meme. The meme is this guy is like hammering, he has this sledgehammer or whatever, he's hammering into this wall, this rock, this cave.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Trying to reach the diamonds. And he's like, like he's gotten so far, you see the whole tunnel.
Yeah.
And you're omniscient in this comic, this meme, and you can see right on the other side of that last bit of wall of rock for him is where the diamonds are, right? It's where the jewels are. And he's at this point, and he's like, this is too hard. And he turns around and walks away. That's the meme. It's very sad.
What's the learning lesson here? What's the lesson? And we're done with this live.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here all week. So the lesson in this...
Tell us.
The lesson in this is just as Sam was saying, that the moments where things feel the most difficult, where we're like, we want to give up so hard, that's literally, this is why it's called the breakthrough. It's called the breakthrough because it is literally the moment of breaking through that final bit of obstacle that feels impenetrable. But it's actually the most important piece. It's the final piece before you go, whoa, I just broke through that. And look, I signed those clients. And look, I took a vacation.
So we know it's not an easy process.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a couple of other questions. Is it like how long would you say that process takes?
What process?
The process of
these 3
interrupting.
steps?
Yes, interrupting these patterns, or building the what am I saying? Building the awareness. What's our second step?
The second step is having the blank canvas and identifying like what is my, identifying what we have identified with.
And then the reprogramming.
And then the painting of the blank canvas, the reprogramming, exactly. So what we're going to do right now is, if you have questions, please type them into the comments, whether you are watching the replay or you're live with us. If you have questions about this, please do type them in so we can answer them. And then we have some common questions that, Sam brought up one of them. So the first one is, how long does it take to go through these 3 steps? It is an evolving, ongoing process. As I shared on my Instagram stories earlier, I had an epiphany the other day. Have I already achieved success in my life, in my business, in relationships by releasing many layers of Brogramming? Absolutely. Are there still more layers? Uh-huh. Yep. Yes. So do we reach a point of perfection, Sam?
No, there will be no point of perfection ever.
Is there ever a point of perfection in health?
Mm-mm.
Ever? I mean, moments. Maybe there are moments, there's like months or even years where we're like, I am on fire. I am freaking just everything is perfect. I never have challenges. But then challenges happen.
Mm-hmm.
But what the difference is being experienced in dealing with those challenges. And the way we gain that experience is by having the courage to choose to have that experience,
mm-hmm.
to choose to move through an obstacle,
mm-hmm.
to have the courage, the willingness, the vulnerability to be like, okay, I'm going to show up and I'm going to do this. And it might be tough and I might not be perfect, but I'm going to value my progress over perfection. And I'm going to continue to show up and I'm going to continue to learn. And each time that I fall off of this track, it's going to show me more about myself to the point where I can help myself on an even deeper level, right? So that when these things come up, I know what to do,
mm-hmm.
or I know who to call,
mm-hmm.
or I know, what resources I need to pull together
mm-hmm.
in order to make the shifts necessary. So it takes willingness, it takes courage, it takes vulnerability, and through the process, it builds resilience, because this is honestly a process of choosing post-traumatic growth instead of post-traumatic stress. Building resilience is exactly like building a muscle, right? And gaining experience is the same, just like building a muscle. So if you go to the gym one time ever, you do some reps on one side, and your right arm gets a little bigger than your left, and you never go back to the gym, you're like, why am I not healthy? Why am I not strong? Why am I not fit? Well, you didn't continue building it.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do anything to keep up your results.
Mm-hmm.
You showed up one time or a few times, and that was it.
Or you get to this, bodybuilding status, and you have jacked arms and a six-pack, and then all of a sudden you stop. And then you go and you fall back in.
Ooh, muscle atrophy.
Yes. So not only is it, can you get to a level where you're satisfied and you're slowly still growing, but you could also get to a level where you just completely drop off the deep end after you've put in all the work, and you have to continue that resilience.
Yeah, continue
Everlasting.
practicing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Lifelong practice. Okay, so another question is, how do you know if you're being overly masculine or if a masculine behavior feels aligned for you, right? So for me, the best way I could answer this, Sam asked me this yesterday as we were outlining this live. What I feel, the way I can explain this the best is when a behavior feels overly performative for me rather than purely expressive. When it feels overly performative, that is when I can feel I'm overly in my masculine. Do you want to go into an example here?
Yeah. So back to this example of this identity of staying busy. Once you have gotten to a point where you have reprogrammed yourself to release this busy hustle and grind lifestyle, you'll begin to notice this shift, and you're going to begin to be more satisfied each day and not have to wait until you achieve something to feel success. This is a committed practice of going inward, connecting to your feminine energy, doing less, observing, trusting that you will be okay and nothing is going to fall apart. And you'll be pleasantly surprised to find out through your own personal experience that by taking these 3 steps, you will no longer need to identify as busy or hardworking or feel fulfilled and achieve the success you desire.
Yeah, you won't have to identify as hardworking in order to feel that achievement, in order to feel fulfillment, right? So here's what we really do at Feminine High Performance. We are redefining efficiency, because there are kind of these two definitions, right? So what we are passionate about for the female body especially is this: the smallest amount, the smallest energy investment, the most distilled, that's really the word, the most distilled energy investment for the largest and most sustainable return. That is our value. That is our goal for you. That is something we are always revisiting with ourselves and in our businesses and in our lives, is how can we be so aware of where our energy is going that is only the highest priority things, the most important things, the things that feel the most aligned for us, the things that move the needle, right? For the largest and most sustainable return. But the world of bro-preneurship, our definition of bro-preneurship really, is the largest energy investment for the quickest, largest, unsustainable return. Putting in really hard work, super hard, super fast, going, hit the ground, running, drain yourself, exhaust yourself, deplete yourself, create something huge and massive that you don't even have the capacity to hold because you built it so fast without enough forethought, without enough awareness, that you build it so fast you can't even sustain it. It's just, it's big and it's there, and then you're like, fuck, what do I do?
Thank you so much for watching, and we are honored to serve you.
Yeah, thank you for being here. All right, see you soon.